guys, welcome to Youth Connect today. My name is Emefa Akosia Adeti, and today I'm particularly excited because we get to connect to one very young man who is doing quite impressively in the field of politics, and maybe many more as we'll get to be discovering when we get to talk to him. A lot of the things that I ask myself when I see young people in politics is that, is it that easy? I also hear rumors that it is quite expensive to get into politics. How are young people getting attracted? Are they really wanting to serve? Is it about governance essentially, or it's become a very short conduit to make money? These are questions we'll just be finding out with a very gentleman who fought a very keenly contested elections that you may have read in the news, and we'll be asking him about it, his experiences and all. I hope that by the end of this conversation, you get to learn a thing or two and you will be inspired. Now today, I'm talking to Edem Agbana. You know him popularly as Edem Agbana. And if you're a former student of University of Ghana, you probably know that he led there before. So welcome to the show. My name is Emefa. Hi, Edem.
Hello, Emefa.
It's good to finally get to sit and talk to you.
No, I mean, I'm very excited to be on your program. I'm particularly excited about this program because you are using your platform to discuss the issues that affect young people, and you pay attention to solutions, not just discussing the challenges. I am a keen follower of your program, and I must admit that you're doing a great job, and I congratulate you and your production team for not following the crowd by hosting programs that usually do attract the numbers, but you're getting into the real issues, and I'm excited about it. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. We are happy that you're here. Let's get into it now. What about politics excites you?
Politics, a number of things excite me about politics. Number one is the fact that you have the opportunity to make an impact on the life of other people. And so politics provides that platform for you to directly and indirectly contribute to making the lives of other people better. You contribute to giving people opportunities, you contribute to empowering other people. And for me, that is the whole essence of life, the opportunity to impact. And politics provides a very, very good platform for such impact-driven initiatives. And so that excites me about politics. I also get excited because politics provides you the opportunity to engage people from all walks of life, and it teaches you a number of valuable life lessons. Teaches you tolerance, teaches you patience.
It does, huh?
It does, because sometimes people really may get on your nerves, but you are expected to take charge of the situation, remain sober, listen to everybody, and attempt providing solutions to the challenges that the people are facing. And so I have learned a lot. I mean, how to remain patient.
What has changed about you since you started politics?
A number of things change about me, but if I can, in order of priority, I can say it's my easy. I used to be a very lively and more like party kind of person. Yes, that's one thing a lot of people don't know about me.
I don't know about
I love
this.
to hang out with my friends.
Okay.
But you know, politics will place some limitations on you.
Why?
Because when you are found at certain places, because you are a leader and people are looking up to you, even though I still believe that there's no problem with that, a lot of people don't really understand. Also, politics places more responsibilities on you, and so you sometimes don't even get time for social events. I love social events because I love to interact with people. So weddings, parties, football matches on the field. I love to hang out with my friends. But politics has a way of restricting you sometimes because of your very tight schedules, and so it makes it very difficult for you to make time for those social events, because almost all the time you are engaged in one activity or the other. So that's one of the things that I can say changed about me. And my friends, some do complain that, oh, these days you don't have time for old school reunions and all of those programs. But I love to be with my peers, because engaging young people, engaging my colleagues brings me so much joy. But because of politics, you are somehow limited. But
okay.
MFA, I'm saying it on your platform, maybe for the first time, that anytime I make the time, I go out with my friends, we party, we dance, we listen to good music, we argue about football. I do all of those things aside the politics, because I believe that politics must not really change
it completely.
Completely. It comes with responsibilities, yes, but you must be who you are and just be who you are, regardless of whatever position you occupy. So I still hang out with my friends sometimes, just that maybe the frequency. And so don't be surprised if you walk into a pub or sometimes even a nightclub and you find me with my friends dancing or sharing a good time. The only thing you may not find me do is that I don't smoke.
Okay.
I don't drink.
Okay.
Once in a while I may do wine or something, but I don't drink.
What's the percentage you can go for wine?
Wine.
If you didn't know, there's about 5. There's about 10. There's 11.
Maybe 5%, maybe up to about 11%. But I don't drink, not because I have any moral or ethical views about alcohol, but for health reasons, I don't drink.
Okay.
But I do hang out with friends who drink. I have friends, some of them smoke, and all of that. But my relationship with people is based on what they bring to the table, not about who they are and whether they drink and all that. I mean, they are not drunkards. But when we go out partying and all of that, sometimes, yeah, my friends, yeah, sometimes they may drink.
It's good to know. So, among all the political parties, why did you choose the NDC? What about the NDC?
Well, I have a very interesting story about why I joined the NDC. My family has always been NDC, but interestingly, that is not what influenced me to choose the NDC. When I got to the University of Ghana, Legon, I was very active in student politics. At the time, I saw myself more towards the CPP and the Nkrumah ideology. And so I recall there was a time that I even addressed a gathering of CPP students. I have worked with children of the former president Nkrumah on CPP-related matters, and I'm an Nkrumahist, true and true Nkrumahist, and I believe that he's one of the greatest leaders the world has ever seen. I have read almost every book written by Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and so I love Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and so I thought I was going to be in the CPP. But when I wanted to contest for SRC president, and I interacted with colleagues, I interacted with stakeholders on campus and all of that, I found the NDC to be more accommodating among the two major political parties. The NDC did not look at me based on my background, my social background or tribal or ethnic background. No, the NDC just gives you the opportunity to do what you are capable of doing. So the NDC was more accommodating than the NPP.
Did you do this test on the CPP as a party? Did you attempt to want to see how accommodating they are as well?
CPP,
or you went straight?
CPP was very receptive. Like I said, I was a member of a group of young cadres of the CPP on campus at a point. But we realized at the time that the party did not have leadership, and even among the very top hierarchy of the party, they were either divided along the NPP, the NDC lines, and all of that. So I decided to explore. And after interacting with people and getting to know the two parties, I decided to return to my mother party, which is the NDC. Like I said, I come from a family that has always been NDC. But I wanted to experience the parties for myself before I make a choice. And so I have very good friends in the NPP, right from campus till now. I have good friends in CPP. I have very good friends in all the other parties. But after my interactions with them, I chose the NDC. And it is a decision that I will make over and over again. I'm so proud to be NDC. And I believe the NDC has given me the opportunity to contribute my quota to Ghana's development. Today, without sounding boastful or whatever, I can say that the name Edem Agbana resonates with young people as someone who speaks for young people, and it is because the NDC made it possible.
So what about politics makes it expensive? I mean, you can explain this better because then you have started from Legon days, university days, and if you can confirm that generally politics is expensive, both in the university level and on the larger spectrum, is it that expensive? Or what makes it expensive?
But it is. It's not a conversation many politicians love to have.
You politicians have not made it look so.
Yeah, so people are afraid to talk about it because when they do, then people are asking them, how then are you raising the resources to do it? Why are you still running for the office if you are complaining that it is expensive, and what is in it for you, where are you getting the money from, and all of that. People are usually afraid to answer these questions, but I believe that we're supposed to have a very open and very transparent democracy. Candidates should be able to declare their sources of raising funds. Candidates should be able to explain or give you an idea how much they spend in an election. Candidates should be able to give you an idea what they spend on. That's what happened in the advanced democracies, and so I am not afraid to speak about it. But politics is very, very expensive, and it is a danger that we ought to do something about, because if we don't arrest the situation, we are gradually getting to a stage where we are leaving democracy to the highest bidder, where the one with the deepest of pockets is the one that will climb to political leadership. And that is dangerous, because leadership and financial resourcefulness may share some things in common, but it must not be a determinant of who becomes a leader. We should give people the opportunity to perform based on merits, not based on the one who can raise the most amount or spend the most amount. And so it is a very expensive venture. What makes it expensive, you asked? Aside your own rounds, driving around, campaigning, posters, banners all over the place. So in my constituency, for example, I'm expected to print no less than 20,000 posters before the exercise is over.
Does that make you any popular?
You need to sell yourself to the electorate.
Is it the message or the posters?
So the message counts, but the posters are symbols that represents you, because whether we like it or not, my experience is that there's still a lot of people at that level who may listen to your message, who may even like you, but if you don't keep reminding them of who you are, and if you don't have enough representation in terms of your party flags and posters, banners around, they may get to the polls and go and vote for somebody else.
Interesting.
Because even with all the education that we embark on, look at the number of rejected ballots or spoiled ballots that we record in our elections. It tells you that we still have challenges at that level. And for a first timer, it is important to print all these banners and posters for people to know that you are the candidate. Because some know that yes, you are representing the NDC, but the person they've been voting for in the past, they may not know. And that the person is no more than one on the ticket. So they walk to the poll. I recall in 2016, we got to a community somewhere in the eastern region, and then a woman told us that in 2012, she went to the polls to vote for Rawlings, and she didn't see Rawlings. She didn't see her junior Jesus. And so
in this 2016, or there's another
in the
2016
campaign, we met somebody who didn't vote in 2012 because, according to her, she went looking for J.J. Rawlings. And I mean, it may sound unbelievable.
To be fair, let's stay on that a bit, and we'll go back to how you but let's stay just on that a bit. To be fair, would it have been just a nostalgic moments for this person living in the past, or this is a personality that marketed himself very well, so much that whatever any other candidate has been saying, they're not listening? Where do we bridge it? What do you think may have happened?
I think it's the voter education. It's voter education. We assume that all our voters have access to traditional media like the televisions and the radios, but that is not the case. There are so many communities that are not connected to the national grid. There are so many communities where politicians are unable to carry the message to the ground. Sometimes you get there and the people are not even available. They may have gone to their farms or what have you. There are still people who basically are not aware of happenings around the political and even the social circles. And so it is difficult for you to just assume that everybody will know that you are the candidate. You ought to take the message to them.
Okay.
Go to them. They will still demand party T-shirts. There are still people that wear President Rawlings' 1996 and 92 T-shirts around. Like once in a while, you spot people wear some of those T-shirts. Not too long ago, I saw someone in President Kufuor's 2000 campaign T-shirts.
How does that make you feel as a politician?
Well, it sends mixed feelings. That even many years after you were gone, there are still people that will remember you, and that's why it's important to serve well, so that when you leave, you can still go back to the communities with pride, because you know within yourself that you gave it your all, and that is why some of us are so passionate about what we are doing. And I think that politicians need to recognize that the voter is becoming more and more discerning. The factors that influence election in the past are no more the same factors that are influencing voters. In the past, when you go to some parts of Ghana, whether you put a candidate who never gets to the ground to campaign on the NDC ticket, just because of the umbrella, people were ready to vote for them. Same for the NPP. But those things are shifting now. So there are some seats that were traditionally NDC seats that the NPP snatched. There were some seats that the NDC snatched from the NPP that in the past, these things were not possible. For example, Ayenswano.
Yes.
When you go to Ayenswano, traditional, typical NPP seats, but the NDC was able to snatch it from the NPP in 2020.
Why are we starting from 2020? Why not 2016, when the NDC lost about 49? How many?
Oh yes, so we have many of such.
So it would have been the same situation.
Yes, so same situation. In the year 2008 as well, NDC won some seats or claimed some seats from the NPP that people never believed that was possible. And so the demographics is changing, and the dynamics have become so complex that there's no room for complacency.
Let's take a minute back into your past before politics.
Yes.
Where were you born? Did you where you are today, did you envisage it? Let me in. How was growing up for you like? Do you have siblings?
Well, yeah, I grew up, I was born in Georgia, in Ketu North. And so when you go to Ketu North, another name that many of the old ladies and the older folks call me is Georgia Kobla, because a Tuesday born in Georgia, and then there were many other Koblers in the house. And so in order to distinguish between Edem, or between me and the other Koblers, they added Georgia, because I was born in Georgia. And I started schooling right there in Ketu North. Then I came to Accra. My JSS was at Baolishi Presby JSS. The school just around the corner. You see it all the time. At the time, it wasn't even as developed as we see it today. We were running morning and afternoon shifts.
Oh, you were part of the people that went to school on shifts.
Yes, I was part of the shift system until recently that the NDC introduced the Millennium School project that replaced that there. So I went to Baolishi Junior High School, went to Maoli School in Ho, and then I came to the University of Ghana. I can say, growing up, I had a very normal village boy experience. I was selling kerosene after school, because at the time, my community was not connected to the national grid, and so people were using the lantern, the one that you use kerosene and all that. So kerosene was a very, very good business at the time, and so I was selling kerosene. After school, I'll play football, still make time to take the animals to
graze.
To graze. And I was doing all of that just as a normal boy. And I'm the only boy of my parents. We are three. I have two sisters. I'm the second born. So normal village boy, kind of growing up. Never knew anything about cartoons until recently. Never knew anything about movies. And so my childhood was not one of those that I see these days. Cartoons, playing with toys and all of that. The only toys we were introduced to at the time was socks ball. You know, you get socks and you stuff it with rags and other things to make a ball.
Yes.
Those are the toys that we were interested in at the time. And so I didn't have, that was just me growing up. But my dad, who was a driver until he passed in 2017, told me that right from childhood, I used to stand up to bullies. And even though I'm a very respectful, very humble person, I never liked to be intimidated or bullied by anyone. And so I used to fight people in school and all that. These are stories that my dad and my teachers from business school tell me all the time, that I was a quiet student until provoked by someone and all of that. So when I got to senior high school, it was same. The only time I engaged in a fight in senior high school was when a senior student unjustifiably punished me and I refused to take his orders. And he wanted to get violent and I retaliated, got to school management, they investigated and realized that it wasn't my fault. But growing up, I learned how to stand up for myself. And I'm sure that is one of the things that got me into leadership, because when you do that, people around you begin to have so much confidence in you. So anytime there's a problem and they need somebody to speak for them, they will say, let's send Agbana. When he goes, he can negotiate and all of that. And so I started occupying student leadership positions right from basic school. Senior high school, I was a house prefect. And when I got to the University of Ghana, got myself engaged in debates and other activities and ended up becoming the SRC president of the University of
Just
of
where I
Ghana.
want us to get to.
Yes.
Did you
and
win
that's
one time? Or?
Yeah, it was a one-touch
really?
victory. Yeah, one-touch victory.
And the people that you contested against, did you stand the chance? Was it keenly contested?
It was a keenly contested election, very keenly contested. And
it looks like you have had very tough elections.
Yeah, I've never had an easy election. I don't know why. Maybe my next premise, I pray that it's easier. But I've never had an easy election, and so I contested with three others, and two of them were in my class, and then two as well were in the same hall with me, Mensa Sabah Hall.
Okay.
And so usually when you are going into elections, you go with a constituency, either your class or your hall. But here is the case: you are in a contest where you are sharing the same class with two of your opponents, the same hall with two of your opponents again. And then sometimes old school counts. I looked around, my running mate was from Ekwamumine Senior High School.
Okay.
I'm not even sure they were up to 20 at the time in school. And I came from Mauli School.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't have the kind of numbers that people from Achimota, I contested against somebody from Presec. And so they had all of those merits going into the election. But we gave it our all, and by God's grace, I won. It was a one-touch victory. I believe it was a well-deserved victory because at the time, I campaigned so hard that almost every room on Legon campus, I literally could identify the students living in those rooms, because for some of those rooms, I entered there 4, 5, 6, or 7 times to campaign to them.
Were there days that you thought, you know what, let me just leave this?
Yes.
People make it difficult for you to want to be their leader?
Yes, sometimes. I mean, especially in the university environment. Sometimes you go to a room or you go to a class to speak to students, and after putting forward your vision and all that you want to do, somebody can just raise a hand and say, still here and two. So why did you ask me to? I mean, you allowed me to speak, and you ask questions, and after that somebody will just
do you speak Tree generally? Do you speak?
No, but that's,
do you understand the still here and two?
Yes, still here and two, meaning that still will not vote. And sometimes you get discouraged, you know. And I recall there was an incident that I got when I left the room. I got so angry. But she's my friend now, and I entered the room.
Let's call her out. Who's this person?
Yeah, so I entered the room to campaign, and she allowed me to talk. And she was asking so many questions, even when her roommates said they were satisfied with the answers that I was giving. She kept asking so many questions, and you know, I needed to decide whether to remain and answer all these questions or proceed with the campaign, because she was wasting my time. I was patient, spent all the time with her answering all her questions. And when I finished, she said, "Oh, Michael is my church member, so me, there's no way I'll vote for you." And Michael was one of our opponents. I was like,
would you say that student elections is more brutal than the national elections?
Student elections sometimes,
it's brutal,
can be very brutal. And there are several affiliations that comes to play. Even your church, your denomination comes to play.
That sounds like American politics.
Yes, your denomination comes to play. And so, for example, if you are in Legon and you're contesting for SRC president, and your opponent is a member of PENSA, please go back and pray again. Because PENSA, Pentecost students, they, at the time, I don't know what the numbers are now, but at the time they had the numbers.
And they still have numbers.
And they make it a project. And so you can go there waiting to speak to them after service. And as part of the service, they are preaching to the students that, don't forget, one of our members, Elder Michael, is in the contest. And you know,
interesting. Those were interesting days.
That's how you recall some of these events. And
what are you remembered for in Legon? If I met anybody that was under your regime or the time that you were president, what would they recall you for?
Many things. I think the most important legacy that I left at the University of Ghana SRC is a legacy of leadership with integrity. I led them sincerely. I was very diligent with my work. And so the students at the time loved me for what I did as a student leader. Aside that, I have a number of physical infrastructure projects dotted all around campus. For example, bus shelters, where the students wait to take their
shuttle
shuttle to class. Yes, I constructed them. Some I've seen that some have been renovated recently and all of that, but I constructed all of that. The current SRC bus, the van that the SRC uses, I bought that for the SRC before I left, and that's what they are still using 11 years on. When you go to Legon, you know you are supposed to enter with the e-card, the electronic access card.
Okay, as in
yes, when you are entering
now,
campus, yes.
Yes.
When you're
Don't tell me you are part of the people that championed that.
Well, I was part. It was the decision of management was to introduce a toll system where when you are entering campus, you are expected to pay a toll because the university took loans to construct the roads on campus, and so they needed an avenue of generating money.
How fair
to pay
is that?
back.
So, okay, well, that's not fairness, that's equity, because then what about the students that enjoyed the facilities before they left?
I also think that the decision to use the e-cards now is also a good one, because Legon is an academic environment. At a point, almost all the drivers from Medina, Adenta, Yarifa, they were using our campus as
a transit.
Transit to avoid traffic.
Okay.
And so sometimes in the morning, even the shuttles carrying students for lectures, you may be in traffic for 30, 35 minutes. Also, because the road became very busy, it disturbs students because some of our lecture halls are quite close to these roads. And so it is also a way of mitigating that,
and sanitizing the whole. I mean, I'm still not happy about it, but
and making it. And so those are some of the things. And the students at the time, the university wanted to introduce what they call the meal plan, where they wanted to feed the university students. I fought it. I actually christened the program University of Ghana school feeding program. And I promised the student that that project would never see the light of day. And I'm happy that till today, we fought it from back then, and it's been on. And so that's why they are not feeding University of Ghana students now. I took a very hard but difficult decision. At the time, many of the students were complaining, but today, whenever I drive through campus, I get very excited about it. We had a number of Get Fund projects on campus that were left uncompleted, some for 20 years and more, some for close to 3 decades. We took a very difficult decision to charge all the students 100 cedis at the time as development levy. And so within the 4 years of your studentship, you pay the development levy once, which is 100 cedis. And at the time, many students didn't like the idea, but we did. And that is what we used to complete all those projects. So when you see the new examination center close to NNB, now, anyone watching me from University of Ghana, that project was left uncompleted for more than 20 years. But leadership, sometimes you must take very difficult decisions, and we took that decision. That's why today you have that beautiful examination center, the theater art building, and some other buildings are on campus are part of those projects that got completed because of that levy that we placed on ourselves as students. I'm the first SRC president that executed the SRC scholarship scheme. It was instituted the morning of my handing over by my predecessor, and so we came to develop the framework for implementation and actually started the implementation of the Yibibwa scholarship. And so for the many SRC or many students on the SRC scholarship, we deserve some credit for instituting it. My predecessor, Combat, did a good work with the idea and bringing it to fruition by launching it the morning before our handing over.
Oh, right.
And then we took it upon ourselves to ensure the successful implementation, and the framework that we laid is still what the university is using, and thousands of students have benefited from that scholarship. Not too long ago, I was in Belgium for a program, and then I made a post on Facebook suggesting that I was in Belgium. Then I got a message in my inbox, on Facebook, asking for my hotel and all of that. A gentleman came. He was doing his PhD in Belgium, and he said, I was one of the first beneficiaries of the SRC scholarship. You interviewed me, and you recommended that I get a scholarship. Today, this is where I am. And he was very happy about
That's
it.
impressive.
That day he took me for dinner and all of that. So
you ate your fill.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can say that sometimes all of these things that we do as leaders, student leaders, many years on, we can look back and ask ourselves, did we serve well? And the answer is always a yes. That's why I'm always proud to be introduced as a former SRC president of the University of Ghana, because I'm proud of my records there.
Interesting. Let's take a trip to Ketu North.
Yes, Ketu North.
So if I understand your zeal and passion for helping people and having to do better, why didn't you just set up an NGO? Must it be politics? So
there are many channels of empowering people and supporting people. NGO is one. I have been engaged in that space for a while. I had my own NGOs. I've worked with other NGOs, supported people across the country, and so I am very familiar with that space. But becoming a member of parliament gives you a bigger platform to contribute to the development, not just of your constituency, but of the entire country as well. Becoming a member of parliament means that you are among the 276 people who will be making laws for this country. Becoming a member of parliament means that you are the voice, the representative of your people, and so you are able to carry their hopes, their aspirations, and ensure that in the lawmaking process, in your advocacy or whatever you do, their lives must be better than you met it.
And so there's a vision for the people.
There's a vision for the people. And so I believe that politics gives you a bigger platform to impact the communities and do whatever you think will help empower your people. And that's why I'm passionate about what I do in politics. And even though I'm not yet a member of parliament, even as a parliamentary candidate alone, I've had the opportunity to introduce or provide some real-time interventions that has helped the people in many ways. For example, I'm embarking on what I call the Agbana Water for All project. Imagine communities without potable water for several years, several decades, and using my association with NGOs and ability to raise funds from individuals, drilling and mechanizing boreholes across these communities. And it's a life-changing experience.
For the rest of the minutes of this interview, I will, because I come from the Volta region.
Yes.
You may have heard that a lot of people say that and you're a member of the NDC,
yes,
that Volta region seems to be the hub for the NDC.
Yeah, it is.
And yet today we're sitting here still discussing potable drinking water, to think about the number of years that NDC has been, governing this country. How does that make you feel if you now have to be commissioning potable water for people, especially in the Volta region?
Development is not an event. It's a process. So the question I ask when people make this argument is that I believe that they have legitimate concerns that in the 21st century we still have communities without water, not just in the Volta region. It's a national, across the country. But my response is, can we then look at the contributions of the NDC to ensuring that people get water. So before NDC came into power in 1992, what was the situation with water in the Volta region? How many communities can we now say the NDC provided water for? Thousands, many. And so because it's not an event, I believe with time, all the communities will be covered. But I also believe, and I do admit, that for those of us in the NDC, especially those of us who will be members of parliament or appointees from the Volta region, we ought to be a bit more pragmatic about the basic necessities of our people.
Of course.
So I admit that the NDC could have done better for the Volta region. I admit. But I also admit, and I also say this on authority, that every good thing and most of the significant projects that the Volta region has ever seen came from the NDC.
The Ashanti region will say so.
No.
The Ashanti region will say same.
The Ashanti region will say same, that most of the significant projects that they have seen came from the NDC as well. And so that tells you that the NDC is a national
This is what the
party.
Ashanti region will say?
Yes. I believe that when we compare records of the NDC in the Volta region and you compare records of NDC and NPP in Ashanti, in all the regions, in all the 16 regions, there is no region where the NPP can boast of more development projects than the NDC. And I'm always ready for this debate.
I'm wrapping my conversation. I mean, I've been hearing quite recently that the NDC didn't communicate very much a lot of their projects. This is one of the reasons why it contributed to your loss, both in 2016 and in 2020. Do you share the same view?
I share the same view.
Why?
And sometimes.
But as people, we can see when the development.
But sometimes when I see President Mahama, I feel like apologizing to President Mahama that all of us, his communicators, we failed him in 2016 because he was so involved. He was so busy commissioning projects and embarking on developmental projects that we forgot to communicate the impact of those projects. And the NPP is very, very good at that kind of politics. And so look at the NPP's so-called performance tracker.
Before that?
Yes. Speed humps.
Before that?
Yes.
Did we have to wait for the communicators to communicate to us the positive projects or the impact of the projects that the NDC had done? Because then in 2016, just as we are lamenting today, there were complaints about inflation, there were complaints about real hardship, and you can see this in the CDD report when they did the 2016 research, so much that I don't know what the Kwesi report said, but is this to suggest that the people could really not feel the hardship simply because you people didn't communicate the projects and the impact that the NDC-led government had done?
No, so it is the case that when you are communicating projects that you have embarked on, let me give you a very practical example. So the NDC builds a KJTR market. When you communicate that you have constructed a beautiful market for the people in Kumasi and it's called KJTR. For somebody in, say, Ehi or Adidome, who may not have a direct interaction with that market, that project may mean nothing to him or her. So we focused on projecting the very, very big projects that we forgot to inform the people of the very basic ones, like provision of water. Like I'm saying, the NPP recently released what they call performance tracker. In that tracker, even painting of schools, they listed it as an achievement. Painting of schools that were built, some were even built by the NDC, just to paint it. They listed them as achievements.
You people saved and chose what you decided to talk about.
Because we thought, like you said, that's why I said it is a failure on our part that we did not communicate enough all that President Mahama had done. And so we thought the projects would speak for themselves. We were expecting that Ghanaians could see and hear about the Circle Dubai. Ghanaians may know the impact of Terminal 3. Ghanaians will be excited about all the other projects, airport in Ho and all of these things.
All these things, was there a priority projects for you?
Yeah,
people? Did you think that it will translate into
yes.
good economic situations for people?
So I think that what we failed to do as a party in 2016 was that we were focused on the development of this country, that we forgot about the next election.
What does that mean?
What it means is that we were too busy developing the country.
Is that not what's supposed to win
That
you
is
the
what
next
it's
election?
supposed to do. But the politics in Africa, it doesn't just happen like that. It's not always about performance.
How is the NDC planning to win
If
this year?
it were about performance, the NDC would not have lost the 2016 election.
What's the NDC doing
If
differently?
it were about performance, 2020, NDC would have won the elections.
What's NDC doing differently?
We are doing a lot different. Mobilization. Our approach to the campaign this time is a bit different from what we saw in previous elections. This time, we are more involved in smaller group meetings and community engagements and all of these things. This time, you can see clearly, we are meeting the various unions and groups, explaining specifically policies that concerns them to them. For example, in 2020, when you ask a number of Ghanaians what they remember about the NDC's manifesto, people will talk about Okada. But in that policy, or in the 2020 People's Manifesto, we had policies covering every sector of the economy, policies for drivers, policies for nurses, policies for the unemployed youth and all of that. But a lot of people will tell you, all we had was Okada. So this time, we are meeting people in groups, we are meeting people in their communities, and we are sharing the vision to them.
Have you launched your manifesto already?
Not yet.
If you do, we'll get into it.
Yes, certainly we'll get into the manifesto, especially the aspect that speaks to issues concerning young people. I would love to be back here to discuss those policies with you. But I believe that come 7th December, John Dramani Mahama and the NDC will win the December 7th elections.
Thank you for speaking to us today. We're really grateful.
Thank you. 1 hour came too early.
I know. I know, guys. So thank you. I'm glad that you tuned in today. So would like a share, would like a follow, would like that you also follow him on all of his socials and get to see most of the projects that really matter to you as a young person. And if you're interested in politics, you might want to choose your mentors quite right. So thank you for watching. Take care. When the news breaks, when decisions are made, when society says it has to be a certain way, as young people, are we ever part of the conversation? Hi, my name is Emefa Akosia Adeti, and I invite you to be part of discussing relevant issues, be it social, political debate, religion, or culture. Let's have our say. On Youth Connect, we shall spark conversations, challenge what we ought to, and find solutions that benefits us all. On Youth Connect, we shall bring to the fore your passion, most importantly, your voice. Don't just watch or listen, act. It matters to you.